Okay, part two is very interesting. Part two is me being a very big Don Johnson fan. We're in the 90s now. And for the first time in my life, I am going on vacation to America. And I always had a thing with America for some reason. I always felt, you know how people say, yeah, like I'm born in the wrong body. Well, I was born in the wrong country, so I can kind of sort of identify. I shouldn't have been born in the Netherlands. I should have been born in America. That's what I always felt, anyway. So for the first time in my life, I actually was able to go to America. And since I was a big Don Johnson fan, I decided I wanted to go see Miami. I wanted to see all the places where Miami Vice had been filmed and all that kind of stuff. So I went to Miami, and I went there for about 3 weeks, and then I came home and I wanted to go back. I wanted to stay longer. I actually wanted to stay. I wanted to find myself a job, get myself a green card, and then just stay there, period. So the first time, that was around Christmas time. And the second time, I arrived in March. Only 3 months later, I arrived there. I worked really hard to afford myself that ticket again, and I made sure that my bed and breakfast was paid for, and I had a little studio actually, but I could get breakfast if I wanted to, and I made sure that I had a roof over my head for the next 7 weeks because I was planning on staying 7 weeks, see if I could find a job and get myself a green card, and then just return and, become an American citizen. Well, you can see that that never happened. That's my mom's fault, by the way. Anyway, I went over there and I thought, you know what? I need something before I go. I need something to tie me over just in case I run out of money. And I had been there before, so I knew that every weekend there was a strip and people were selling stuff. And so I figured, you know what? Why don't I get some sort of tarot cards? They're actually Lenormand cards, but they are like tarot cards, and just sit on the strip and, predict the future. Maybe I can do that. I had a friend who did that, and he said to me, why don't you just take those cards and, see what happens? Not my cards, but buy some cards. So I bought some of those cards. I actually bought the book, see how that worked, and I educated myself in the airplane, actually, on the way to Miami, and read the book and looked at the cards. And then the guy next to me said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm reading this book about cards and to tell future with them." He said, "Oh, well, let me be your first guinea pig." And I said, "Okay." You know what? And I laid the cards for him, and I looked it up in the book, and I said, "Well, it's probably full of bullshit, but so and so and so, and your wife, blah blah blah, and that's why you're probably on your way home now, right?" And that's what the cards say, anyway. And then he just kind of went silent, and he said, "Yes, I am indeed going home for that reason." And I went like, "Oh my, holy shit, crap, fuck," I'm sorry for the cursing, but back then I was an atheist, so that's actually what I said. I said, "Okay," and that was, I thought, fascinating, but I didn't plan on using it. I had enough money. However, what I didn't think I would run into was, when I came there, was spending a little bit more, and I'm not gonna tell you what that I spent that on, because I don't think that's important. But about I came there in March, and it was the beginning of May. I was slowly running out of money, and I started doing the cards in the weekends, and that went very well. And after doing that for 2 weekends, it turned out that I actually didn't need the cards anymore, because as soon as people sat down with me, I could tell them anything that they needed to know about themselves. And one can say it's wrong to do the cards, and you might be right. On the other hand, once you don't need the cards anymore, and you can just see the people and see what's going on with the people without having them shuffle cards, then you're, I think, sort of prophesying over these people. Anyway, it went really well, and I had people that were standing in line for me. The lines were so long that I actually had a young friend there. He was a couple of years younger than I was, and he was homeless, and I kind of felt like I needed to take care of him a little bit, so I gave him the money to keep the people in line. He was so handsome. He should have been a model. He was really handsome, and he could just entertain the people, and he was really good at that. So I could give him some money if he kept the people in line waiting for me until I was done, because I never put a time limit on there. I didn't say like you got 5 minutes, you know. I only said like if it's good you can pay $5, and if it's not good just walk away. So in one of the last weeks that I was there, I think I had about 2 more weeks to go. This Puerto Rican guy, little tiny guy, he walked up to me and he said, there were no customers actually. That was on a Sunday. It was already like the end of the night. He walked up to me and he said, what's your name? And I said, Jana. And he said, Jana, what you're doing is wrong. And I'm sent by God to tell you what you're doing is wrong. And I said, come on, what's your name? And he said, Danny. And I said, what do you do? He said, I'm a preacher. I thought, oh, Lord, really? And he said, and I can prove to you that what you're doing is wrong. And I said, okay, well, here's the deal. Because atheist, right? Here's the deal. Do you know how to play poker, Danny? And he said, yeah, I know how to play poker. So then you know what it means when you have an ace and a jack together, right? And he said, I know what it means. I said, well, if I got like a house and a tree together, I know what that means. So that's the way I try to explain it away anyway. But, you know, I never stepped aside for a confrontation or a talk, actually, with anybody that is religious. So I got to talking with Danny. And at the end of that 2-hour-long talk, he said to me, why don't you come to my church tomorrow? And he had this actually shop set up with a couple of chairs in them, and he was preaching. So I said, I'll come. I don't have anything else to do. I'm on vacation. So I went there, and you know, me and Danny, we had long talks, and he said, Jana, what is your purpose in life? Do you have a purpose in life? And I said, well, I want to find a job here, actually. And I was actually ready to become a waitress on one of those cruise boats. And, but, yeah, there was a lot going on. You know, there's a lot going on when you're 24 years old. So, let me see, how old was I in 1990? Let me see, I gotta do and distract that. About 24 years old, okay. So I was just about into the clubs. Anyway, he said, do you believe in God? I said, well, I don't, there's no proof there is a God. And he said, well, it's really easy, Jana. All you have to do is challenge God and say, well, if you're really there, then just, you know, prove that you're there. Just challenge him, put down a challenge, say, well, if you're really real, then such and such and such. And that evening I went home and I went, okay, Lord, you know, if you really are real, if you are really, really real, I want to see Don Johnson right here. Because by that time he was living in Aspen, and Miami Vice was long over, so I thought that was a pretty cool challenge to put down for God. I said, God, if you're real, just show me Don Johnson and I will believe in you. Or better yet, you know, make it even better, I want my picture taken with Don Johnson so that I can prove to everybody that you are real. How's that for a challenge? There's one girl from 15 million Dutch people in a country at that time with 300 million people, just that one person from that 300 million people that doesn't even live in Miami anymore. Let those two meet and let those two be on a picture together. I thought that was a good challenge for God. Didn't you think so? I thought I was smart. So I went home and I did what Danny told me. Pray. Okay. So I went home and I prayed. Now I don't know how to pray. I still don't know how to pray. I just talk to God basically. And I tried to fall asleep, and then this really scary thing happened, okay? I felt like there was a ball bouncing on my tummy. Like up and down and up and down and up and down. And it scared the hell out of me. And I got up. And I didn't sleep all night. Because every time I laid down, I felt this ball. Like the skippy balls, you know? Like that. Bumping up and down my tummy. Up and down. And the next day I ran to Danny. I said, Danny, this thing happened. And I was explaining to him. He said, oh, I don't know if the Holy Spirit is trying to come in or if something went out that's trying to come back into you. Okay, so he said, I don't know which one it is. I still don't know which one it is, but it scared the hell out of me. I hadn't slept all night, so... I went for a walk on the beach. And when I was walking on the beach, there was this... I was walking back. You know, I was there so long, I knew there was a favorite spot that I would lay on the beach, and I knew the lifeguard, and we had talks. I had talks with the lifeguard too, because I was all by myself, and we had some fun, and he knew I was a big Don Johnson fan, and he went just like, oh my God, all these Don Johnson fans, freaking hell, you know. But, you know, it was fun, and I walked back to the hotel because I just used to go for long walks along the beach, clear my head, you know, and I would love to just kind of see what the sea would bring in, and I would, you know, collect shells and rocks and all kinds of stuff that, whatever the sea would bring up on the shore. And when I was walking back, I saw this white Testarossa. And I knew back in those days that Don Johnson drove that white Testarossa, and I just went like, what just happened? And I just kind of froze. And then when I thought, I gotta check this out. It was standing in front of a hotel, and I thought, I just gotta check this out. And I went a little closer to the car, so close enough that I could read the license plate. And the license plate was not from Miami. And I don't remember what it said on there, but it freaked me out anyway. Okay, so then I sat there for a while, and I thought, you know what? If I sit here for an hour, maybe somebody will walk out, get in that car, and just, you know, call me insane. I can call myself insane. Like, yeah, right, Don Johnson would be here right now, right? Sure, he will. And I ran. After an hour, nobody came out for that car, so I just ran all the way to the beach because. Down the beach, I wanted to talk to the lifeguard, and what I wanted to do was get a camera just in case there is a Don Johnson there, you know. I wanted to get one of those toss-away cameras, and but I ran down the beach, and I was in good shape back then, and I saw the lifeguard, and I said, "Dude, is Don Johnson in Miami?" And he said, "Oh, not again with the Don Johnson." And I said, "No, seriously." And he said, "Of course not. Why would he be in Don Johnson? The guy lives in Aspen. I told you that already." I said, "Okay." And then I walked away, and I went to go get myself a camera. And when I was walking back, I had to pass his live house again. And he said, "Hey, Jonna, come on in here." And he said, "Check this out. There are OBT races in Miami on the beach. And Kurt Russell's here, Chuck Norris is here, and Don Johnson is here." And I thought, holy... I said, "Save that newspaper article for me, please." And he said, "I will." And then I ran back to see if that car was still there. And of course it was gone. And then I thought, okay, this is Okay, this was freaking me out. So then I went to Danny. I said, Danny, you never know what I did. You won't understand. And I was telling, like, Danny, when I left here the other day, I was thinking, like, okay, I want to meet Don Johnson. God, if you're real, blah, blah, blah. And Danny was just standing there. And he said, so what's up next? He said, where is he going? I said, well, he's going to be in Club New. He said, well, I know a bouncer in Club New who's one of my Christian friends, so he can let you in. And I thought, seriously? And then he said, yeah, come on, let's go see Club New. Or he's at work. He's blah, 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 blah. So we went to Club New, and he actually got the bouncer to let me in the VIP area. And I thought, like, holy crap, this is, like, unbelievable. So I am going to be in there. And then, oh my God, when Don Johnson is there, and then I got to talk to one of the guys that was supposed to give me a job on the cruise ships, and I bumped into him accidentally, and he said, he said to me, like, Jana, I know I was supposed to give you a job, but something else came up. There are OBT races now. He said, but what I can do to make it up to you is I can give you a VIP card, so you can come and join us, just to make up. So, and I thought, that's so cool. I will have a VIP card. Oh my God. He said, be here 7 o'clock on May 11th, and I will give the card to you. So, okay, May 11th comes, and actually this is my birthday, and I was turning 24, and the guy came down. He said they were out of VIP cards. But what I do have for you is a press card. So you can use that. I said, I can pretend I'm press. Yes, you can, he says. Just use the press card. Okay, so I got the card, and I went to Club New, and with Danny, and the bouncer let me in, and I had this press card. Now, it turns out that only press was allowed in the VIP area with the VIP cards, but at a certain point it got so crowded in the area that nobody was let in and out anymore. So I made sure that I was in before I was going out. And this bouncer said, like, I want you to meet somebody. And he took me to a paparazzi photographer, and he said, you got to hear this girl's story. This is unbelievable. So he told the story to the photographer, and the photographer went like, yeah, I said, you know what? I want my picture taken with Don Johnson. And he said, that's never going to happen. I've been following Don Johnson for like 20 years now, and he never had his picture taken with a fan. Okay? He just doesn't do that. And I said, okay, just in case, just make sure that, I'm near. When I'm near him, that you're near me. And he said, Jana, that's not going to happen. The paparazzi guy said. And I said, okay, we'll see. And so this moment comes we're in Club New, and this moment comes actually where Don Johnson, Kurt Russell, and Chuck Norris arrive, and they all arrive together. And I'm standing on a stairway, a little, it's not that high, but I was standing on there, and Chuck Norris and Kurt Russell went into a different area in that VIP location, but Don Johnson was actually walking towards the stairs. So I thought, if I stay on these stairs, I have a chance to ask him if he will have his picture taken with me. And it's my birthday. So, I mean, seriously, how can he say no? And he was walking up the stairs, and he was actually, and I was so, starstruck. There you go. Frozen. And I went like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he was actually already passing me. And there were like 3 bodyguards around him. And they couldn't all fit on the stairs because I was standing there. And then when he passed me, I quickly pulled on his sleeve. And I told him, Mr. Johnson, I think you're great. It's my birthday. Can we have a picture together? And he said, well, everybody could say it's the birthday. I said, but I have my passport with me so I can show you. See, this is a Dutch passport. We just changed dates around. So when you say 5/11, we say 11/5. So my birthday, it's my birthday today. I'm turning 24. And I said, this is my passport. And then he said, and then he laughed. He went just, the most adorable laugh. And then he turned around and he snapped his fingers. Photographer! And that paparazzi I was talking to you about, he was right there, and he took the picture. And then Don said, happy birthday. And I said, thank you so much. This is like the greatest gift. And after that, I went downstairs, and I didn't leave the area because the press wasn't already left in anymore. I didn't leave the area, but I just kind of leaned over and said to that photographer, I need your card right now. So he handed me his card. He said, I can't believe you pulled that off. I have never seen him take a picture with a fan ever in his life. And I said, I will talk to you tomorrow. And I went back upstairs and I mingled. And then some of the OBT racers, they're up there, they were part of, like sort of doctors. They would check the OBT racers' health before they would go on racing to check if they're healthy. And one girl pulled on me and she said, how the hell did you just manage that? And I was talking to her, and I talked to her all night, and I saw her again the next day as I sneaked in again into the towers for another meeting with Don Johnson. But that is a story for tomorrow.